So now we're going to hear from our Rotarian of the Month, Jen. And Jen, you do not have to climb any masts, any boats, any of that. What you are doing is already hazardous enough. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Let me stop my screen share so you can if you need to. There you go.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'll go through this relatively quickly. I just kind of threw a bunch of pictures together as a little way for you all to get to know me a little bit more. I'll share my screen. Okay, I'm getting better at well, I thought just was as I thought I was. Here we go. Getting better at this whole virtual thing since it's my whole life right now. All right, so there is my family and my sweet husband who is also in this club. He's upstairs in bed with our littlest guy who's still sleeping up there. So this is my family. And I think I covered a lot of this. I think I just did my craft talk like, I don't know, 2 years ago it's been. So some of this may be a little bit repetitive. There they are, all three of them. So Emily is 16 now, Caden is 10, and Collin is 6. And there they are when they were littler. I don't know if I went over this with my craft talk, but in a non-COVID world, my life is being a swim mom. That's kind of our thing. So besides teaching, I am driving my oldest, all over the place and competing. So she's a competitive swimmer, and we do not have a competition pool in Humboldt County. So that's regulated for USA Swimming. So she has to compete other places. So the closest place is probably Fort Bragg, Willits, Ukiah, Redding, and then we go all over the place. And actually her very last meet, she qualified for a sections meet. Usually only 17 and 18-year-olds qualify for it. She qualified when she was still 15, and Bryn actually flew down with her to San Diego the very end of February this year, and then everything changed. We went on shelter in place like 2 weeks later. So we were really feeling grateful that she got that one last experience before everything stopped. So that is kind of our swim life. We do this all the time. We have traveled very far for her to literally swim like 24 seconds. It's pretty crazy. But she's a junior this year in high school, and she's actually already in the process of talking with coaches, and her goal is to swim D1, and we're hoping that that's something that she can do. So she's interested in possibly UC Santa Barbara, University of Northern Arizona, which is in Flagstaff. She's interested in that one. Unfortunately, Boise just cut their women's swim program. They had D1 swimming until just this summer. And maybe even University of Hawaii. I don't know, but she's hoping to swim D1. This summer was crazy because there wasn't a pool that was open. So we were driving out to the lagoon daily. And so we started off in her triathlete wetsuit. And then when it got a little bit warmer, she did the lagoon just in a swimsuit. But that was our summer. We did a lot of driving to Big Lagoon daily, so she wouldn't miss out on swim practice. I'm also a dance mom, so as crazy as swimming is, my child has not given up her love of dance either. So, and you know, she's looked up to some amazing dancers like Randy's daughter since she was 5 or 6, these beautiful dancers like Marissa. So she has not wanted to let this go either. So she still squeezes dance in between school and swim. And the boys were kind of sick of going to all these dance performances, and they were like, just let me in too. So Caden does tap dancing, and my little mouse right here, he did ballet last year. So a lot of dance and a lot of swim. Here's Caden, my middle one, very into scouts. It's very fun. Bryn is actually taking them to a day camp up in Oregon this weekend. Both boys are going up to a Boy Scout camp this weekend. So we do a lot of scouts with our middle our middle child, Caden. And here's the little one. We don't really know what he's into yet. He's not really into anything. He's into everything. There he is berry picking, and he's the little one. He just goes along with it, and we'll find out what he's into. So that's Collin, and he is 6. There's my sweetie. There's our wedding and backpacking, and yeah, it's really great having, you know, my sweetheart being in this club as well. It's just a fun thing that we can share together now. We bought a 1888 Victorian about 11 years ago. So our life, when we're not doing all those other things, is home improvement projects, because this is quite the project. If you remember the movie from the 80s with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, The Money Pit, we bought the Money Pit. So that is a lot of our life. You can see our little guy in the window right here. That was the snow. I think that was just this last, maybe that was 2 years ago. Anyways, that's a lot of our time is figuring out what's next on the list and what we can afford to get done, because there's ongoing projects always. And thankfully, my sweet husband and then my dad, who lives right down the street, are handy people and can do a lot of things themselves. I love to travel in a non-COVID world. History related, I got to spend a week on the USS Midway down in the San Diego harbor at a history conference about the Cold War last summer. So the summer before COVID hit. I got to take 8th graders, including my daughter, to Washington, D.C. That was really great. And Mary was there. Rebecca's daughter, Mary, was on that trip. It was fantastic. We loved to backpack. But yeah, history related trips are always fun. I was supposed to have taken 30 plus kids to Europe this last spring break, and of course our trip got canceled, and we have it tentatively scheduled for this spring break, but it's very uncertain what that's going to look like. I went to Arcata High, and now I teach at Arcata High. There's my high school graduation. I graduated with Dustin. He was a dear friend of mine in high school and in college. Dustin and I lived together in Chico. So it's amazing to be back here, you know, teaching where I went to school and being in a club where I recognize so many people from my youth, and being in a club with Dustin is really fantastic. So, and I just finished up a second master's degree at Arizona State. So my life got a lot better in April, but then it got a lot crazier with teaching virtually. But I just finished up this program that took almost 3 years. So life does look a little different right now. So teaching in a COVID, I mean, this is what I'm 11 years into the district with Northern Humboldt. I've taught at both Arcata and McKinleyville High, and it's really hard not being able, I see these pictures and I'm like, oh my God, we're all so close together, because this seems like such a far off world that we could be standing unmasked next to each other. But there's my, some of my amazing students. And I miss them. I miss them a lot. I help out with Interact, occasionally pop into those meetings and see what I can do to be helpful with that. My daughter is in that club. But yeah, it's definitely, it's bittersweet. Everything is virtual right now, and it's definitely hard. We all are. So I teach history. This year I teach AP European history, I teach US history, and then I have a section of leadership as well. I'm also, when our district went completely virtual, I stepped in to help with the independent study program, because that was my role when I first got hired on with the district. And so I'm co-lead teacher for our independent, so it's like a whole nother full-time job on top of a full-time job, but our district needed help so badly that I stepped in. So it's an insane time right now. It's absolutely crazy. More pictures of these amazing kids. And yep, you know, I don't know what homecoming will look like. We've kind of put it off for a while. Sports are tentatively scheduled to resume after winter break, or actually starting in the beginning of December. We have a modified kind of condensed schedule with sports planned right now, but who knows what's actually going to happen. So we've held off on doing any sort of homecoming until we know, but we're hoping that maybe we can do that in January or February. Graduation last year, we had to get creative. So we did huge pictures of every single graduating kid, and and put them on these banners that came down over the school. And then it was a drive-through graduation. I don't know if I shared pictures of this at one point, but we tried to make it as special as possible and honor the class of 2020, since in many ways they really got left out of a lot of the traditional things that they were used to. So we did the best we could to try to make this special for them. And again, there they all are, and they could drive through and see their pictures. And you could see kids decorated, you know, the back of their cars or convertibles or just hanging out the window. And teachers lined the streets, that 16th Street right there, to wave and blow kisses to their beloved seniors. It was really beautiful. Even though it was strange, it was really still an amazing thing that we put together last year. And again, we just don't know what this year is going to end up looking like. So, and then, you know, another big part of me is my love for this Rotary Club and the people in there. And, you know, to be a part of, you know, I've known Terry my whole life, and to actually be a part of a club with Terry as now my dear friend instead of just my parents' friend is so special. And all of these people just mean a lot to me. And I miss seeing them in face to face, but you know, these Friday mornings are still just a great way to stay connected, and can't wait to do some of these things again. So that is, I think that's, oh, and there's my family again. All right, Maggie, that's it. That's my, that's my get to know me.
That was great, and I think it was really nice too to hear what the school world looks like for those of us who aren't in that world. To hear a little bit back, hear what's happening.
If I'll just mention, if you know a teacher in your life, just recognize that this is the hardest thing in the whole world right now. Not emotionally hard. To not be physically connected with your students, but I have never worked so hard in my entire life. I'm sitting in front of a computer screen. I can't even tell you what this is like. So if you do know teachers in your life, just reach out to them, recognize that this is hard right now. It never ends. There's no separation between work and family anymore. It is nonstop into the weekends, just, you know, transferring everything to digital format, wondering how your students are. I have 170 kids this year that I see throughout the week. So again, when we look at what reopening will look like if we do, it's tough to know, like, how do we filter in each teacher, you know, at the high school level with about 170 kids, how we make that safe. It's an impossible situation to try to wrap our brains around it. But yeah, teachers are working crazy, crazy hard right now.
Right. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of us are out, either don't have kids or are outside of our kids being in high school or any school. And I think it's easy to get caught up in our own kind of situation, but our kids, you know, the kids need to be supported and they need to be learning. And the teachers are, I mean, teaching was a tough job, tough gig before this. So hats off to you and to all your colleagues. And yeah, hug a teacher, virtually hug a teacher, I guess, is what we need to do. Let's go hug your favorite teacher today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. So we, we're gonna pick next month's Rotarian. So I'm gonna do the number generator here. Okay. All right, 67. 67 is Tom. Can I do it again? Do I have to have Tom? Okay, it's Tom. So I will, he's not here today, I don't think, so I will get together with him and give him the bad news that he has to teach me something.